Actually, Women Without Children was written as a poem first, and it was written in the dead of Chicago winter with no plants, no life around, but this little orchid in the middle of my house. And so, of course, orchids are very sensual plants, and the whole thing developed as this examination of sensuality, and all of a sudden it got into childbearing, and the next thing I knew I had this really sensual poem about orchids. Now, when I started to work with video, I produced a video with Bob Bolt before, who's produced many and experimented a lot with video, with theater and dance. I talked to him and I said, would you be interested in producing with me? And I showed him 5 or 6 poems, and he chose Women Without Children. And I started relating, as I started thinking of the visuals involved in it, not only the orchids, but I started thinking about my past and the people in my past. And at the time I was thinking about it, I was doing the laundry, and I ran down to get the laundry, and I passed these pictures of my great-grandmother, who is a Mormon polygamist with lots of children. And I just flashed this moment of, I have no children, I have this luxurious plant, this orchid, and here is this picture of the eyes of this woman that are really the hardships and all of her children. So it was a comparison of our lives. And I talked to Bob about it, Bob Bolt, and we came up with the images, and it incorporates her eyes and her family along with this orchid and all this sensuality. So it really was the poem first, and then the images, and you know, bringing in that aspect of it later. And it turned out to be almost a direct comparison of my life to her life.
Women without children grow orchids, whose fuchsia lips hang down with spittle, the very tips of fragrant vowels. These women hold flower sepals near water and bathe them with mists. They do not wipe at mouths that are always open and slightly obscene. They do not avoid the newborn displaying his sexual parts. Women without children herd the stamens and sticky pistils into the pots, then let them rant free and reckless in front of company. They imagine the instruments of drunken bees as they stagger up from their drop to amber. They worship magenta. Women without children lift the shiny rhizomes, pearlish as boycocks, and feed them to the bark. Fragrant, moist, crumbling to the touch. They stroke green pseudobulbs and veer toward yellow. They lay at night, dreaming of more damp mouths to feed, whose tiny tendrils tumble toward water, whose sticky sneeze leave the kerchief coral, a million minute dots, whose seeds burst forth at her touch.